Hello, friends. Welcome to a little snippet of the secrets behind the red doors. The next episode's coming out shortly. Just waiting for a little studio reconstruction. But let me tell you a little snippet of what's going on. The next story's coming up. One thing about John and his drive and his greatness, he was also a regular guy. So let me explain the club to you on a scenario on every day. You'd walk in the morning. Charlie Deke was sitting there reading the paper, having his coffee, chain smoking a cigarette. Then you'd see little Jackie come walking up the block, whatever he was running around, always moving around. And then Pete Gotti would pull up. And then guys like us, or Jimmy Irish, would walk into the club. What's going on? Talk. Look at the horse races. Now, back then, the two red doors, only one was used. The second side had two phone booths. The old style phone booths and a lot of storage, card tables, whatever, a crap table, whatever was stored in there. But basically it was just a main door. If you walk facing the Bergen Hunter Fish Club, there's someone to sign Bergen Hunter Fish Club. I'm going to post a photo of that. That's the main operation. When John was the skipper, and that's what it was before he refurbished the other place. So John would come in there, hang out, say hello. Guys would make him a coffee. They'd talk. He'd get dressed. He'd go to, they had a barber shop back there. He'd go to the barber, be it in Ozone Park on the first area, Liberty even get his hair done. So, and he'd talk. Look at the horses and who would show up. It would be Willie Boy. It would be so many different guys would show up and he'd get ready to go to the city. So that was the daily routine. And in this routine, so many different characters went in. From Mike the Milkman to, there was Billy Victor. There were all these guys, all parts of these everyday events. And these guys would be the personality of the club. And their personalities of John, if you see John's effect on them, they all like to gamble, they all like to joke around, and they all like to eat and drink. They all were just regular guys. Johnny had a lot of regular guys from East New York and Brownsville with him there. They all followed him. So this first story is the kind of story that gives you an idea of what went on in every day. John walks in one afternoon, and he walks in with Joe Messina. And Joe Messina comes in with some guy trailing him. And John says, listen, we got a problem. We noticed we got to check this place for wiretaps. We have a guy here who checks for bugged places. Now, you got to understand something. This is the first one for me and a lot of guys, wiretaps. So this is the early 80s. So they're walking into place, and they're checking around. This guy's going around with a machine checking for wiretaps. And he goes next door, and there's two phone booths. And the phone booths to check if they're wiretapped. What happens? They find two bugs. They find one in the phone booth, an old-fashioned one with the wire coming down from out of the ceiling, and they find one there's a heat shaft that has a covering around it. The bug just laying in there. It was what I call a $3 job. It was found, but they pulled it out, and that was it. So now they got the bug. So it could be more than a week later. We're in the club. They're playing cards. Everybody's hanging out. All of a sudden, the door opens up, and the Queens DA squad comes in with the cops, about 30 of them. And John's in there, Tony Pep. I'll tell you about Tony Pep later. And they come on and say, John, Mr. Gotti, they come there with paperwork. So Johnny says, whatever they ask you, don't sign. Tells everybody. There's about 30 guys. Don't sign a thing. And they start handing out this paperwork that you were caught on a wiretap. To everybody, me, Charlie, everybody got caught on. And so, never forget, Tony Pep says to the detectives, you guys got something. You want to lock us up. This neighbor's going to turn to crap once we go. We keep it safe. And the cop says, yeah. Johnny, they don't know what they're doing. So everybody, don't sign nothing. They get the wiretap, and they leave. They look at the paper. It says, you were caught on a wiretap discussing illegal conversation. Nothing ever came from it. But the banter between John and the cops, he treated them with respect, he kidded around with them, he fucked around with them, but he let them do their job. Just let them do their job, don't sign none. Nobody signed none, and get out of here. So I said to John, look, John, I even got one. He said, Mark, everybody got one. Nobody gets a kick about what's going on in this life. No matter what you do or what you try to do, everybody's going to go to jail someday. And that stuck with me for years. But that story has legs. Come back later. On my episode, and I'll tell you where that story took that story to even greater levels of John and how his personality and the guys around him just flourished. See you soon. Come back. This is Mark from the Big Red Doors.